Okay, good morning everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to be back. Lottie and I are thrilled to wait for Lottie and hope to speak to lots of you during the day. You might be aware that the Armed Forces Covenant Fund Trust was 10 years old. We had our 10th anniversary last year. And to celebrate that, we made a series of films of some of the really outstanding projects that we'd funded. And during that period, we funded over £90 million worth of projects. That's 1,900 separate projects. And one of those projects was British Heroes. So I'd like to start by showing you the little film that we made. It's about 4 minutes long, and I thought it'd be nice to introduce you to Ernie.
My name's Greg Baker. I'm the Centre Manager for the Bridge for Heroes drop-in centre in Kings Lynn. We're a military charity that protects and supports veterans, members of the armed forces and the armed forces community in general in Kings Lynn, Norfolk and the surrounding area of East Anglia. Our Covenant Fund grant was to help us with in-reach and outreach and dealing with isolation and loneliness. We used the funding from that so we could facilitate collecting more veterans out of our natural area or had issues with transport. We'd bring them into the centre. We'd then run activities such as art clubs, book clubs, various games of dominoes and mindfulness, really to help with their well-being and to bring them into a community again that they may have not had since their time in the forces, or if they were isolated in a rural area.
One of the volunteers drives and they come out and fetch me, get me out of the house, into the car, and then we arrive here. It's great, yeah, a great kind of fun. I mean, my cousin also comes. We pick him up on the way through and drop him off home on the way out. Well, we have lunch, we read, you can play cards, dominoes, halves. Or you can sit and have a chat and a laugh, which we do. Pull each other's leg, you know.
The project went very well, beyond our expectations. We've been able to collect veterans and do a daily meal in the centre that's open 6 days a week. So they're getting a full, nutritious, home-cooked meal and then mixing very, very well with the people that we have already in the centre.
My husband was in the Navy and he was always part of it because he did the cadets, the Navy cadets and everything. And he was beginning to get dementia, and I thought he needed somewhere to go, and we went past this place a few times, and then we decided to come, and it was the best thing we ever did.
But anyway, she's a godsend to me, actually, being in this space. Everybody's so nice and cheerful, and other than that, no, I don't know what I believe.
It's just nice to have somebody to talk to, you know, when you're on your own at home. Nice to have time to myself, you know, to give me like relief from, you know, looking after him, even if it was only half an hour. And then I'd come in here and probably have a laugh with everybody else and chat. so it was good for me as well. So he was a bit of a devil, like most of them are. I mean, I come here now and, you know, I always go home and I've been laughing.
Because I can meet people and I don't see them till next week and can have a chat and a laugh. And yeah, otherwise it's only myself and my partner. And we've been together 24 years. And she'll be 90 on, what do they call it? Valentine's Day, yeah. And if I forget that,
I really enjoyed that. So that was Ernie, and obviously with £90 million and 1,900 projects, it's been a humongous amount of impact. But I just think Ernie's smile is a bit of a metaphor for that. So I hope you enjoyed that. So it probably won't surprise you today that I'm going to give you a bit of an update on how we think Thrive Together is progressing in East of England. Just ahead, it's going well. I'm then going to talk a little bit about what we think we can expect in Valor Round 2. You might be aware that we are facilitating Valor delivery of the Valor Grant Programme on behalf of the OEA. And finally, you are the first audience to hear about what's coming next for the Trust for our next 3-year strategy. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. So the first thing to say is that obviously we have funded Thrive Together and for that EPP, but we've also funded lots of other work. And when I did a bit of a search, I was stunned to see that since the beginning of the EPP, the Common Forces Covenant Fund Trust has funded £6.5 million to 53 projects in the East of England. And we are the one funder, so bravo, you're doing amazing things, and obviously we see those monitoring reports of the impact of that. So phenomenal amount of work, and I think the catalyst, I know I'm sticking my leg out, is VTRP. You know, that was the sort of beginning of organisations working together in the vast area of the East of England. So I mentioned about the feedback that we get, and we love to see the little vignettes and the case studies and the numbers, and it's a very difficult task to try and aggregate that and work out, are we making a difference? You know, what is the impact of the funding? And obviously we have to make that case to government. So I'm just going to share a couple of little vignettes with you that I think are, you know, very typical of what you folk are doing in this room. So one veteran who turned to drink to soften the pain of loneliness and isolation could barely walk into the Bridge for Heroes Centre unaided. He was very shaky, very hard to understand. With support, he started coming on a regular basis, and he was given lots of hot meals. From drinking 10 pints a day, he's reduced his drinking habits considerably, which has improved his ability to speak clearly and be understood, as well as making him steadier on his feet. So I think we know what that's all about. That's about camaraderie, support, and belonging, and it's a lot of things, isn't it? The other one, another veteran who served in the Royal Navy before developing severe mental health issues which make him unable to work, is receiving long-term support. He struggles with his mood and does at times express suicidal ideation. So I've got one-to-one sessions with this veteran during which he can unload about how he's feeling, and he says that this helps him get his thoughts in order and he appreciates being listened to rather than talked at. So I think these are quite powerful little vignettes of what is happening on the ground and what brilliant work that we're doing. So as you know, 3 parts to Thrive Together. The first part, we asked you we asked Bridge for Heroes to carry out full consultation with stakeholders and develop strategic plans. They went to our board. The board were really impressed. I've got all of my board members here in Cope, and so the funding was given. We're now deep into phase 2. And this is different to the EPP because not only did we ask you to deliver, but there's heightened focus on making longer-term changes in investment in infrastructure to ensure sustainability past the end point of this additional funding. Now, we know this was a nigh impossible ask. We know it was really, really, really big thing to challenge you with, but you have risen to that challenge, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a minute. And so then we will get into phase 3, which was mentioned earlier, embedding sustainability. So I found this incredibly encouraging that we Thrive Together. So this was something that was reported back into us from Bridge for Heroes, from the work that you've all been doing together. Through Thrive Together, we've begun to foster a collaborative culture across the East of England that brings together veterans, families, charities, the NHS and local authorities in ways that were not happening before. Now, obviously that's a very uplifting, positive phrase. Behind that, you've also told us that it's very challenging, that it requires funding, time, energy and effort, and that's got to be sustained as well. So we're not so naive as we think we can just, the funding ends and you will carry on and it'll just continue. We know that won't be the case. We know there'll be ongoing conversations and thinking, and perhaps Alan will be a part of that. So in terms of the impact of VPPP and that delivery of Thrive Together, from your monitoring reports, from all the evidence that we're gathering, this is what we're seeing. So improving and increasing referrals. Because it's joined up, people aren't having to repeat their story over and over and be re-traumatised. It's more effective. You're building trust. Everything works on trust, doesn't it? Everything you do, you go to people who you trust, and that takes time, and you put that time in through VPPP, through Thrive Together, and that's really important that we've got that now. Improving mental health support services and access to them. Improving cross-sector support to veterans at high risk of suicide. Well, what could be more important than that? Improving awareness in connecting with veterans. Very difficult task. How do we find them? How do we convince them to come forward? They're very stoic. Lots of people don't want to accept help and seem needy, but you're finding them. Reduce loneliness and isolation for veterans. We've already seen some lovely examples of that. And ultimately, saving lives. You're doing incredible, incredible work in the East of England. We're seeing the evidence of it. It's very humbling to read and to see, and I just want to thank you and recognise it. And I'm pleased to have come from the work today to raise the smoke and to say thank you to you for what you're doing. So what I'd like to talk about now is that big ask on sustainability. And if you want to wave at me, if you're here when your logo comes up, and I can see who's here, I want to talk about what's happening for each of the members of the Thrive Together portfolio in terms of sustainability. So Hobby Factory are continuing to deliver on their model of employment support for veterans with health and wellbeing challenges. The success of East of England presence highlights the value of having a local dedicated resource to coordinate referrals and build trusted partnerships with other Thrive Together members. Anybody here from VCN? Hi, lovely. VCN is embedding long-term sustainability through diversification, collaboration and community working, the establishment of recurring local hubs and partnerships with councils, GP surgeries and third sector organisations is expanding the networks, reach and resilience. Nice to see you. Veteran Central is developing a sustainable evidence-led model for community-based veteran support by embedding long-term partnerships with NHS providers, GP surgeries and local authorities. The creation of their Veterans Information Booklet is an excellent resource ensuring consistent messaging. I hope I'm not stealing any of these sandwiches for later. Suffolk Family Carers, who I know, hi, hello ladies, have made clear progress towards sustainability by embedding delivery models that are responsive, scalable and informed by lived experience, reducing reliance on fixed venues and enabling delivery to adapt more easily to local need, along with the strengthening of peer relationships within groups of carers, increasingly forming informed networks outside of sessions. So thank you for that. James Paget University Hospital. Hi. Lovely. So James Paget has strong partnerships with welfare services, local authorities, charities and care providers, ensuring that veterans are consistently identified, supported and referred through trusted pathways. The care home strand is embedding long-term change by increasing staff awareness, supporting accreditation processes and creating ongoing links between residents and external veteran support organisations. And in South Essex, nice to see you. Mid South Essex Trust are laying strong foundations for sustainability by embedding Armed Forces awareness into routine trust processes rather than relying solely on time-limited outreach activity. There's been a continued increase in Armed Forces alerts and service champion engagement demonstrating a shift towards systemic identification of support and veterans within healthcare pathways. Green Path Ventures. Hello. Green Path Ventures has established durable partnerships and embedded referral pathways, providing a strong foundation for sustained engagement. Carers in Hearts, that's what I meant earlier. So carers in Hertfordshire have made strides towards system learning and capacity building by embedding armed forces, carer identification within existing hubs, volunteer networks and partner organisations. The project's creating longer term mechanisms for recognising and supporting this hidden group. Healthwatch Sussex and Healthwatch Suffolk, easy for me to say. Sustainability is being developed through a co-produced service with veterans directly shaping events. This approach increases the likelihood of continued engagement and relevance beyond the initial event delivery. The mobile awareness sessions are building repeatable outreach approaches, embedding the project within existing community events and creating ongoing referral pathways into support services. Additionally, development of digital marketing assets supports longer-term visibility and promotion, enabling the project to reach wider audiences beyond in-person activity. And obviously, Bridgeshire Heroes are at the forefront of this delivery, coordinating partners and delivering on projects themselves and the impact created by Thrive Together here in the east of England. Amazing work that you're doing. It was a very, very big ask. You've risen to the challenge. As I said earlier, we know it's not the whole piece, it's not the whole, there will be more resource needed, but you're doing fantastic work. Thank you. So I've got a call to action for you. So Bridgeshire Heroes have developed a professional network platform. Can I just have a show of hands of who's on that platform? See if everybody's on there already. No, not everybody is on there already. So on the Bridgeshire Heroes website, you can join their professional network for free, sign up, and then suddenly you will be connected with everybody. So everybody who didn't have their hands up, please have a quick look on the website and join that network. It's a sort of very instant way to be connected and to thrive together. So that's all I wanted to say really about Thrive Together. It's really a very huge thank you from me, recognition of the brilliant work that you're doing. If you want to grab me anytime during the day to talk about anything specific to your bit of a project, that would be brilliant. I want to talk now a little bit about Valor. So in Valor Round 1, there were 14 awards made, and all but 2 of those were consortiums of organisations, and the 2 that weren't had very strong sort of collaborations that they would bring to bear. So a bit of a hint there, I think. In terms of the outcomes that they're seeking, I'm sure you know all this because you've looked at the guidance, but helping to reduce the postcode lottery by delivering more equity, enhancing collaboration and coordination within the area. Well, I think we've already got quite a bit of that going on, and help improve understanding of need through sharing data and information on veterans. I know that you're already doing that. So I just wanted to share that, and I think there's a big hint there that you are such a long way of doing what is desired from Valor. Valor will strengthen the existing network by improving coordination between services. Well, you're doing it. Building on what's already working well, that would be lovely because we don't want to see it get lost. And helping local services align around veterans' needs. And of course, after a year of being awarded a Valor award, it's expected that organisations will open their doors to the wider armed forces community. And of course, we recognise that that might require change to articles and that sort of thing. But it doesn't really matter which organisation steps forward to lead and to receive the funding from us and do the coordination. It's about the partners, it's about what we're going to deliver. And so it's my fervent hope that there will be a strong bid from this region and also London. There were really 2 areas that went awarded in the first round. So folks, I think you're there. I think you're ready to go. And I hope that this will be a possibility. I'm really happy to discuss, obviously as an arm's length body of government and involved in the process of letting the grants, there's some things I can't say, but Nick can probably say a bit more, has a bit more freedom to do that. What I will say about round 2, we're in discussion at the moment about the guidance. Nothing is set in stone. We're having discussions about how best to do that, what we can learn from the first round to try and make it as good as it can be. So I'm really, really happy to talk to people during the day about that will be helpful. Finally, I want to talk to you about what's next for the Covenant. So actually, do I? No, I don't. I've forgotten to say something that I wanted to mention earlier. One of the things that Bridge for Heroes have led on is the digital platform, which I think is unique in that of all the 10 portfolios, Bridge for Heroes is the only one to have, I'm looking at blotting out, yes, they've come up with this digital platform, which is being adopted by other portfolios because it's so good. So commend that to you and bravo to Bridge for Heroes for producing that. And also, on behalf of the Trust, I want to recognise the work of Dan Hickey, who delivered the project lead for Thrive Together up to now. You know, his creativity, drive, energy has been fabulous. So on behalf of the Trust, I want to say thank you to him, and best of luck to Jonathan going forwards. It's a great job, I think. Okay. The Covenant Fund framework we've just come to the end of our second year of 3 years, and this is what we've done. So we've distributed 10.4 million in grants. This is just the Covenant. This is not other bits of funding. I'll tell you about in a minute. 224,000 estimated beneficiaries, 161 awards. And when we did our consultation last time round, what stakeholders told us were the outcomes that we should be seeking were these at the bottom: addressing mental health and well-being, help seeking and stigma, building collaborative partnerships between on-causes organisations and specialist organisations, and improving access to support for families. So we are measuring that as we go, because we're in year 2 and we'll know a bit more about that. But going forward, last time, it was the first time we had done a consultation to work out what we should be funding. And of course, it was a little bit of a wet finger in the air. This time, we're refining that process, and it's going to be a bit more slick, we hope, a bit more fun, actually, as well. So in order to shape the grants we make with the Covenant Fund between April 27 and March 30, in June, we're going to be publishing an evidence and gaps map. So we have got 5 research partners who we go to. They're sort of at the short trail, and we go to them and say, can you do this bit of research? This is something that you specialise in. Can you give us some? Because we don't want to be just blundering on. We want to know that we're doing the right things with a limited resource. So we have, I think it's around Europe who are doing this bit of work to identify where are the gaps in terms of Covenant delivery. So we'll have that map, and we'll have that information. We'll then be bringing out collaboration labs, which sounds very grand, but I think it's going to be a fun thing. We will be coming to you, or we will be sending out a kit to an organisation to convene a collaboration lab, and we'll be asking you, we think it's these things that we should be funding. Do you agree with us? And we'll be open to your thoughts on that, and hopefully it'll be a bit more exciting than a survey. So that's the plan for the next year. In terms of all of the funding, it's a little bit complex in terms of the funding. We are a government grant maker. The 10 million core is for delivering the Covenant. So we spend quite a bit of our board wrestles with, is it a Covenant issue? Is it disadvantage? Is it something that's been caused by a service? And those are the things that we're looking to fund through the Covenant Fund, or of course support for those who are given the most. Other funding has different focuses. So funding for veterans, mental health, funding for homelessness, ability through the OVA is slightly different, it has different focus. And we also manage the less interest perhaps here, but the Families Fund on behalf of MOD as well. But this is how the consultation is going to go for the next 3 years. and we're really, really keen that you have a say in that and that we refine it and make it the best it can be. And the reason that we have to get it right is because with 10 million, we are only 1% of the 1 billion that is in the sector each year supporting the armed forces community. And we are a really, really small player, so we want to make the most impact we possibly can with that £10 million. So that's me, and I just want to say how proud we are to support you in what you're doing. We recognise you're at the sharp end, you're doing difficult stuff, and we are in the background, but we really respect what you're doing. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you.